Welcome back to our channel Rare Coins Collections, where we delve into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today, we're bringing you a coin that's truly special, an iconic piece of American history. We're talking about the United States Washington quarter dollar from 1776 to 1976. This coin has a rich background and a surprising value that many collectors might not even know about. Stick with us as we explore its history, design, and the stunning amount of money this coin could fetch if you happen to have one in your collection. Let's start with a bit of history. The Washington quarter dollar from 1776 to 1976 was issued to commemorate two important events, the bicentennial of the United States and the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. To mark this special occasion, the U.S. Mint created a unique design for the coin that featured some changes from the regular Washington quarter design that had been in circulation for decades. The coin was issued as part of a larger celebration of the nation's independence, which was reflected not just in the events but also in the artwork that adorned the quarter. This time, America was celebrating its legacy, and the coin acted as a reminder of how far the nation had come since its founding in 1776. By bringing this design into circulation, the U.S. Mint wanted to make sure that every American could have a tangible piece of history in their pockets. Little did they know, these quarters would become highly sought after by collectors in the future. Now let's talk about the design of the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter dollar. On the obverse side of the coin, you'll find a portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States. This iconic image was used on the Washington quarter since its introduction in 1932. Washington's profile remains one of the most recognizable depictions of an American leader, and it serves as a fitting tribute to the nation's first president. On the reverse side, you'll notice an exciting change for this special edition. The reverse features a bold and dynamic design that commemorates the nation's bicentennial. The reverse design shows a colonial drummer, symbolizing the birth of the United States, surrounded by 13 stars. These stars represent the original 13 colonies that declared independence from Britain and formed the United States. The design was created by artist Jack L. Ahr, and it served as a powerful reminder of the country's origins. This unique design set the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter apart from regular quarters and made it highly desirable among collectors. Now, let's dive into what makes this particular coin so valuable. While many of the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarters were mass-produced, not all of them are created equal. The value of these coins depends largely on their condition and rarity. You may be wondering, what makes the 1776 to 1976 quarter different from all the others? Well, a few factors come into play. First, the coin's design is unique to this year, and many collectors are drawn to it because of its historical significance. Second, the coin was minted in huge quantities, but very few have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. If you come across one that is in perfect shape, it can be worth a small fortune. One of the most important factors that contribute to the value of the Washington bicentennial quarter is its mint mark. These coins were produced at several U.S. mint locations, and some mint marks are rarer than others. The most valuable of these coins are often those with a mint mark from the Denver or San Francisco mints, particularly if they're in exceptional condition. Additionally, you may come across special variations, like proof coins or error coins, which can add even more value to your collection. These rare variants are highly sought after, and finding one could mean a major windfall for the lucky collector. Another factor to consider is the coin's silver content. The 1776 to 1976 Washington quarters were minted with a combination of 40% silver and 60% copper, which was a departure from the standard copper-nickel composition used for quarters at the time. This makes the coins valuable not just for their historical significance but also for the precious metal they contain. Silver prices fluctuate, so the value of the coin's metal content could increase over time, adding to its worth. Now, let's talk about the real question on everyone's mind: how much can the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter dollar be worth? While most of these coins in average condition might only be worth a few dollars, some have sold for impressive amounts at auction. If you happen to find one in uncirculated condition or with a rare mint mark, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands of dollars. And here's the most exciting part: in some exceptional cases, this coin could be worth a staggering $77,000. Yes, you heard that right, $77,000 for a single quarter, if you happen to stumble upon a 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter that's in fantastic condition, or if you've got one of those rare mint mark variations or error coins, it might be time to have it appraised. You could have a hidden treasure on your hands that's far more valuable than you ever expected. So, what should you do if you find one of these coins in your collection? First, check the condition of the coin. Coins that have been well preserved, with no signs of heavy wear or tarnishing, will fetch much higher prices. If you're not sure of the coin's value, consider having it graded by a professional numismatic service. They can provide an accurate assessment of its condition and rarity, which can significantly increase your chances of selling it for a great price. In conclusion, the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter dollar is a must-have for collectors who appreciate the historical significance and artistic design of U.S. coins. While most of these quarters are not worth much, the rare and well-preserved examples have skyrocketed in value, and finding one could mean a life-changing discovery. Who knew that a coin with such a humble denomination could hold so much value? If you're a coin enthusiast or treasure hunter, make sure to keep an eye out for this iconic quarter. One day, it could be worth a small fortune. Today, we're taking a closer look at a special coin that you may have in your collection without even realizing its potential worth: the United States Washington quarter dollar from 1982. While this might seem like a fairly modern coin, don't be fooled. This quarter could hold some serious value, especially if you know what to look for. Stick with us, because by the end of this video, you'll find out just how much this coin could be worth. Let's start by looking back at 1982, an important year in American history, and one that helped shape the coinage we know today. The Washington quarter dollar has been in circulation since 1932, with George Washington's portrait gracing the front of the coin, and the reverse typically featuring an eagle. However, the 1982 Washington quarter stands out for a few reasons that make it particularly interesting to collectors. The coin was minted in 1982 during a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning its coinage. In fact, this year marked the first time that the Mint began experimenting with different compositions in its coins due to the rising cost of metals. While most of the coins issued around this time were composed of a copper-nickel blend, there were some unique issues in the 1982 Washington quarter series that could drive its value up dramatically. This was the same period when the United States was facing challenges due to inflation and the rising cost of materials, making certain coins from this era quite intriguing to numismatists. So, why would a Washington quarter from 1982 be worth so much more than its face value of just 25 cents? The key lies in a few important factors, the most significant of which is the condition of the coin. Like all coins, the 1982 Washington quarter was produced in massive quantities. However, not all of these coins survived in mint condition. Most were circulated, and over time, they became worn and damaged through everyday use. But some, however, were preserved in perfect or near-perfect condition, and that's where the value comes in. If you're lucky enough to have a Washington quarter from 1982 that is in pristine, uncirculated condition, you may have a valuable collector's item on your hands. Coins that have been kept in pristine condition, free of scratches, tarnish, and wear, are often worth far more than coins that have been used in daily transactions. The better the condition, the higher the price it can fetch. That's why collectors seek out coins that have been well preserved, as they are much rarer and more desirable on the market. In addition to condition, the rarity of the 1982 Washington quarter also contributes to its potential value. While there were millions of these quarters produced, only a small percentage of them were kept in pristine, uncirculated condition. Furthermore, certain versions of this coin are harder to find due to minting errors, which can make them even more desirable. Error coins are always hot commodities in the coin collecting world, as they are one-of-a-kind items. For example, there have been instances of the 1982 Washington quarter being struck off-center or featuring double die errors, where the design has been stamped twice. These types of errors are highly prized by collectors, as they are rare and unique. Now, let's talk about the specific variations of the 1982 Washington quarter that could increase its value. One of the key factors to pay attention to is the mint mark. The 1982 Washington quarter was minted in several locations, including the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. Each mint mark can affect the rarity and value of the coin. For example, coins minted in San Francisco are often more highly sought after due to their lower mintage numbers, especially if they were released as part of special proof sets. Proof coins are struck with higher precision and usually have a mirrored finish, making them even more valuable than standard circulation coins. If you have a proof coin from the 1982 Washington quarter series, you could be sitting on something truly valuable. Of course, the silver content of a coin also plays a role in its value. While the 1982 Washington quarters were primarily composed of a copper-nickel blend, it's important to know that some special versions of these coins, such as certain proof coins, may have been minted with a silver content. These silver quarters are naturally more valuable due to the price of silver. Even though the 1982 Washington quarters were not produced in large quantities with silver, they do show up occasionally, and if you happen to have one, it could be worth much more than a typical copper-nickel quarter. Now, let's get to the exciting part, the value. You might be wondering, how much could the 1982 Washington quarter actually be worth? As mentioned earlier, most of these quarters in regular circulation are not worth much more than their face value. However, if you have one that is in excellent condition, especially one with a rare mint mark or a minting error, your coin could be worth thousands of dollars. But here's the real jaw-dropper: if you happen to possess an extremely rare, uncirculated 1982 Washington quarter with an error or a highly sought-after mint mark, it could be worth as much as $63,000. Yes, you read that right, $63,000. That's an incredible amount for a coin that was once just a regular quarter. The key is to check the condition of your coin carefully, examine it for any unique features, and determine whether it's a rare version. If you have one, it might be time to get it professionally graded to see just how much it could be worth in the collector's market. In conclusion, while the 1982 Washington quarter may seem like an ordinary coin at first glance, it actually has the potential to become a prized treasure in the world of coin collecting. Whether it's due to its pristine condition, rare minting errors, or its historical significance, this quarter could be far more valuable than you ever imagined. So, next time you find one, don't just toss it aside, take a closer look. You could be holding onto a coin worth a small fortune. Today, we're diving into a coin that might just be hiding in your collection, an American classic with some serious potential value. We're talking about the United States Washington quarter dollar from 1986. You might be thinking, it's just a regular quarter from the 80s, but believe me, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. By the end of this video, we'll reveal just how much this quarter could be worth today and why it's causing a buzz in the numismatic world. Let's take a moment to rewind to 1986, a year when the world was buzzing with events that would shape history. The US was in the middle of the Reagan era, with the country experiencing economic growth, the space shuttle program in full swing, and the Cold War still casting its shadow over global politics. Amidst all this, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins for circulation, and in 1986, they struck millions of Washington quarters. Little did anyone know that some of these coins would eventually become sought-after treasures for coin collectors. The Washington quarter dollar has been a staple of U.S. coinage for decades. Introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington, the first president of the United States, the quarter has had several design changes over the years. However, the 1986 edition still carried the same classic image of Washington's profile on the obverse, front, of the coin. On the reverse, back, you'll find the eagle, symbolizing the strength and resilience of the United States. But while the design remained familiar, there's more to this coin than just its look. Now, let's talk about why the 1986 Washington quarter could be worth a lot more than its face value of just 25 cents. As with all coins, the value is primarily determined by rarity and condition. And while 1986 wasn't a particularly special year in terms of major commemorations like some other years of coin production, there are a few things that make this particular quarter worth paying attention to. For starters, the minting process in 1986 was not as straightforward as it may seem. While most of the Washington quarters from this year were produced in large quantities, some were struck with slight imperfections, giving them unique characteristics that collectors covet. These imperfections, known as minting errors, can range from off-center strikes to doubled dies. And when it comes to the 1986 Washington quarter, certain rare minting errors can dramatically increase its value, but even beyond mint errors, the general condition of a coin plays a massive role in its worth. You've probably heard the term uncirculated thrown around when it comes to coins. An uncirculated coin is one that has never been used in regular circulation and is in pristine condition, with no signs of wear or damage. If you happen to have a 1986 Washington quarter that's been carefully preserved and remains in uncirculated condition, your coin could be worth much more than the few dollars a typical quarter would fetch. In fact, high-quality, well-preserved coins from the 1980s are rare and highly prized by collectors. Another factor that contributes to the coin's potential value is the mint mark. The U.S. Mint produces coins at different facilities across the country, and the mint mark tells you where the coin was struck. The 1986 Washington quarters were minted at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and the location can make a significant difference in the value. Coins produced in smaller quantities or those with distinctive characteristics from a particular mint are often more sought after. For instance, if your 1986 Washington quarter has a particular mint mark from Denver or San Francisco, it could be worth more than a standard issue from Philadelphia. But what about the silver content? Here's an interesting twist. The 1986 Washington quarters were primarily made from a copper-nickel alloy, but there was a special release of 1986 quarters that contained silver. These silver quarters, which were part of a special proof set, are far more valuable than their regular counterparts. Silver is a precious metal, and as the price of silver rises, the value of these coins can increase significantly. So, if you happen to have a 1986 Washington quarter that contains silver, you could be looking at a nice little windfall. So, how much could this 1986 Washington quarter actually be worth? The value of this coin varies greatly depending on its condition, mint mark, and any rare characteristics it may have. For the most part, you might find 1986 Washington quarters in average condition being worth just a few dollars over their face value. However, when you get into pristine, uncirculated versions or those with minting errors, the value skyrockets. Coins with significant flaws, rare mint marks, or those with high silver content can fetch much higher prices, sometimes reaching into the thousands of dollars. But here's the kicker: if you happen to find an exceptionally rare 1986 Washington quarter, perhaps one that was struck with an error or is a part of a special proof set, it could be worth as much as $67,000. That's right, $67,000 for a single quarter. This is the kind of discovery that every coin collector dreams of, and it's entirely possible if you know what to look for. A high-quality, error-free quarter from this year can earn you a significant return, and a rare, uncirculated coin could make you thousands of dollars richer. So, if you have any 1986 Washington quarters lying around, it's time to take a closer look. Pay attention to their condition, check for any minting errors, and see if you can spot a silver variant. And remember, if you're unsure about the value of your coin, don't hesitate to get it professionally graded by a numismatist. They can help determine its true worth, which might be far higher than you expect. In conclusion, the 1986 Washington quarter dollar may seem like just another piece of pocket change, but it's much more than that. With the right combination of rarity, condition, and unique characteristics, this coin can become a collector's dream. So, check your change jars, revisit your old coin collections, and make sure you don't miss out on a coin that could be worth a small fortune. Today, we've got a fascinating coin to talk about, one that may just be hiding in your collection or even in your spare change. We're diving deep into the world of the United States Washington quarter dollar from 1979. This coin might seem like an ordinary piece of pocket change, but don't let that fool you. There's a surprising value to this quarter, especially if you know what to look for. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be blown away by how much a 1979 Washington quarter could be worth today. Let's set the stage and take a step back in time to 1979. The late 70s were a time of economic challenges in the United States. The country was facing high inflation and the energy crisis, but there was also a sense of change in the air as the American people pushed through these tough times. Amidst all of this, the U.S. Mint continued to produce coins, including the Washington quarter. This coin, which has been in circulation since 1932, features a portrait of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. The design of the Washington quarter has remained largely unchanged over the decades, making it one of the most recognizable and beloved coins in American history. Now, you might be thinking, what makes the 1979 Washington quarter stand out from other quarters? The truth is, while 1979 was not a year of massive historical events or special commemorations, the coin has become quite notable to collectors due to some unique characteristics that have emerged over the years. First and foremost, the value of this particular quarter depends largely on two things: its condition and its rarity. As with any coin, the condition plays a huge role in determining its value. Most 1979 Washington quarters that have been in circulation have undergone wear and tear, which significantly lowers their value. After all, a quarter that's been through countless pockets, vending machines, and cash registers is bound to show signs of use. But here's the exciting part: not all 1979 Washington quarters are ordinary. There are some rare finds out there, coins that were kept in perfect condition, or even better, coins that feature minting errors that make them stand out from the rest. For example, if you happen to come across a 1979 Washington quarter that is in uncirculated condition, that's a big win. Uncirculated coins have never been used in circulation, and they show no signs of wear, scratches, or tarnish. These coins are much rarer and highly prized by collectors because they're in pristine condition. The 1979 Washington quarter wasn't produced in the same limited numbers as some of the other more famous commemorative coins, so finding one in near-perfect condition is a true find. The better the condition, the more valuable the coin becomes, but condition isn't the only thing that affects the value of the 1979 Washington quarter. Minting errors play a massive role in the coin's worth. Minting errors are mistakes that happen during the production process, and they can significantly increase the rarity and value of a coin. With the 1979 Washington quarter, a few types of errors have been spotted that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. One of the most common types of errors for this coin is the double die variety, where the design on the coin is stamped twice, giving it a distinct double image. This type of error is incredibly rare, and if you're lucky enough to find a 1979 Washington quarter with this flaw, you could be looking at a much more valuable coin than you thought. Another potential error involves off-center strikes, where the coin is struck at an angle or misaligned during production. These off-center coins often have an interesting and unique look, which is why they're highly sought after by collectors. These errors add a layer of intrigue to the coin, making it much more valuable than a typical, unblemished quarter from the same year. Of course, there's also the matter of the coin's mintage. The U.S. Mint produced millions of Washington quarters in 1979, but that doesn't mean all of them were created equal. Some mints may have produced slightly fewer coins, making certain versions of the 1979 Washington quarter rarer than others. If your coin has a mint mark from a mint with lower production numbers, it might be worth more than a standard quarter from that year. Keep an eye out for coins with mint marks from Denver, San Francisco, or Philadelphia, as these will tell you where the coin was struck, and can help you determine if it's a more valuable version. But here's the most exciting part: the value of this seemingly ordinary quarter could surprise you. While most of the 1979 Washington quarters are worth only a small premium over face value, rare finds in excellent condition, or with minting errors, could be worth far more. And if you happen to come across a top-grade, uncirculated 1979 Washington quarter with an especially rare error, or an exceptionally low mintage, it could be worth as much as $69,000. Yes, you read that right, $59,000 for a single quarter. That's an incredible amount for a coin that may have just been sitting in your collection or tucked away in a change jar.so. How can you spot if your 1979 Washington quarter is worth a fortune? Start by examining its condition. If it's in near-perfect, uncirculated condition, that's a good sign. Look for any signs of wear or scratches that may lower its value. Next, check for minting errors like doubled dies or off-center strikes. These are the kinds of flaws that can make a coin much more valuable. And finally, consider having your coin professionally graded. A certified coin grading service can help determine the exact value of your 1979 Washington quarter based on its condition, rarity, and any unique features it might have. In conclusion, the 1979 Washington quarter is a perfect example of how an ordinary coin can turn into a valuable collector's item with a little luck and a keen eye. Whether it's a well-preserved, uncirculated coin, a rare error, or a coin with a low mintage, this seemingly common quarter could be worth thousands of dollars. So, the next time you come across a 1979 Washington quarter, take a closer look. It might just be worth a lot more than you think. Today we're diving into one of the most interesting coins in U.S. history, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar. You might think of it as just another coin from the 60s, but this quarter has a fascinating backstory and, more importantly, could be worth a small fortune depending on the condition and a few key factors. If you have a 1965 Washington quarter lying around in your collection or even tucked away in a jar of old change, keep watching because you might be sitting on a hidden treasure. By the end of this video, we'll reveal just how much this coin could be worth in today's market. Let's take a quick step back in time to 1965. The U.S. was in the middle of a decade of change, politically, socially, and economically. The civil rights movement was in full swing, and the United States was deeply involved in the space race and the conflict in Vietnam. Amidst all of this, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins, and the 1965 Washington quarter was released as part of a significant shift in U.S. coinage. One of the most notable things about the 1965 Washington quarter is that it marked the beginning of a major change in the composition of U.S. coins. Prior to 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. However, due to the rising cost of silver and a shortage of the precious metal, the U.S. Mint decided to change the composition of quarters starting in 1965. The new quarters, including the 1965 Washington quarter, were made with a clad composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This change marked the end of the era of silver coins, which makes the 1965 Washington quarter a turning point in U.S. coin history. Now, this new composition made the 1965 Washington quarter less valuable in terms of metal content than its silver predecessors, but it's the rarity and the condition of certain 1965 quarters that can make them quite valuable today. The most important factor when determining the value of a coin is its condition. Like most coins from the 60s, many of the 1965 Washington quarters were circulated extensively, which means they've seen wear and tear over the years. The more worn a coin is, the less valuable it tends to be. However, if you're lucky enough to find a 1965 Washington quarter in uncirculated condition, you could be sitting on a real gem. Uncirculated coins are those that have never been used in daily transactions, meaning they've been carefully preserved and are free from wear, scratches, or tarnish. These coins are much rarer than their circulated counterparts, and collectors are always on the lookout for them. If you happen to have a 1965 Washington quarter that's been kept in pristine condition, it could be worth significantly more than a quarter that's been used over the years. Uncirculated versions of this coin are highly sought after by collectors and can fetch much higher prices at auctions or from serious coin buyers, but what about those rare exceptions? Well, just like with any coin, there are always a few that stand out from the rest due to minting errors. The 1965 Washington quarter is no exception. One of the most significant factors that can dramatically increase the value of this coin is the presence of a minting error. While most of the 1965 Washington quarters were struck accurately, a few coins were struck with unique imperfections that make them highly valuable today. For example, one of the most coveted errors on a 1965 Washington quarter is the double die variety. Double die errors occur when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, resulting in a coin with two overlapping images. This type of error can make the coin much more valuable, as it's a rare mistake that collectors absolutely love to add to their collections. If you happen to find a 1965 Washington quarter with a double die error, it could dramatically increase its value. Another type of error that can make the 1965 Washington quarter more valuable is an off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, causing part of the design to be missing or misaligned. Off-center strikes can be quite striking, and collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins that have this unique and unusual look. If you find a 1965 Washington quarter with a significant off-center strike, you could be looking at a valuable error coin, but that's not all. The mint mark on your 1965 Washington quarter can also affect its value. The 1965 quarter was minted at several different U.S. mint facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The mint mark, which is located on the reverse side of the coin, will tell you where the coin was struck. While the Philadelphia Mint didn't use a mint mark for coins produced in 1965, coins from Denver and San Francisco will have their respective mint marks. Coins from these mints, especially in certain conditions or with rare features, can be more valuable to collectors. You may also want to keep an eye out for any special 1965 Washington quarters that were produced as part of a special set or series. In 1965, the U.S. Mint also produced proof sets and special coinage for collectors, and these coins tend to have much lower mintage numbers compared to coins released for general circulation. If you happen to own a proof set or a special 1965 Washington quarter, it could be worth much more than a regular coin. So, how much is the 1965 Washington quarter worth today? Well, as I mentioned earlier, the value of a 1965 quarter depends on its condition, minting errors, and rarity. Most 1965 Washington quarters are worth only a small premium over their face value, but if you have one that is in uncirculated condition, features a rare minting error, or is part of a limited edition set, the value can skyrocket. In some cases, an exceptional 1965 Washington quarter can be worth as much as $81,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $81,000 for a single quarter. That's the kind of value that makes any coin collector's heart race with excitement. So, before you toss those old coins aside, take a closer look at your 1965 Washington quarters. You might just have a rare, uncirculated gem, or one with a minting error that could fetch a significant amount at auction. As always, if you're unsure about the value of your coin, it's a good idea to get it professionally graded by a certified numismatist, who can give you an accurate assessment of its worth. Thank you for joining me in today's deep dive into the 1965 Washington quarter. If you found this video interesting and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on our future videos. Who knows? Your next coin could be worth $81,000. Happy collecting, and I'll see you next time.